Today we're discussing the character who made players cry, and I mean literally cry. You can find footage online of streamers actually crying from this character.
So useless. I can't do anything.
But what makes things even crazier is this character made you cry with a single attack, which I feel is almost unheard of in the fighting game genre. Because sure, there are plenty of cheap characters who are overpowered and make you rage, but none of them could make you rage with a single attack, which is why Shiva is such a unique exception. And make no mistake, even at the pro tournament level, this character was a threat. A player named Titanium Tigers dominated several tournaments by terrorizing the players with Shiva's stomp. In fact, one time his shenanigans even got him banned by the developers themselves. And if that sounds extreme to you, that's because it is. A player should not be banned because of how they're playing a character that you made. But it's worth mentioning Titanium Tigers did poke the bear because he named his character this. And of course he means, why did NetherRealm make the stomp so good? In the past, I made several videos just trying to figure out which character had the best move for defeating Shiva's stomps. And what I discovered was insane, because even attacks that you would think are perfect for countering Shiva's stomp could not do it consistently, and sometimes they even lost outright. Now, I'm sure plenty of you watching already know about all of this, but even so, because I cover extreme circumstances on this character, overpowered this, broken that, unfair this, I think it's only fair to look back one last time on Shiva's infamous stomp.
Knock, knock.
Oh, hey man, it's been a while. Wow.
I'll come for the shirt.
Ah! Whoa, take it easy, okay? You don't have to kill me. Just use the links down below in the pinned comment or video description and just get your own.
Buying the shirt supports the channel?
Yes, it does, but you have to be quick. It's only available until March 21st, so that's like less than 2 weeks from now.
So everyone watching this video should buy it now. It's a collector's item. Although me personally, I could just kill you and take the shirt.
That is true, but can you at least do it off camera? I don't want to get demonetized.
Alright, so let's start off from the very beginning. Shiva's stomp is an unblockable. Already that's really tough for a lot of people to deal with. But then on top of that, this stomp tracks your location. That's right, Shiva has a GPS in her stomp. She will find your address no matter where you move to. It doesn't matter if you're full screen, half screen, or in Shiva's face, because this stomp is a homing missile. And since this attack comes from directly above the player, it's not easy to hit Shiva out of it. Even characters like Devora with an uppercut that hits almost straight above her has a hard time hitting Shiva if you don't time it correctly. And look, even there it's still traded. And that's why most players didn't even try to attack. They would just retreat and then try to punish afterwards. However, there's several reasons why that strategy did not work. For starters, Shiva can delay her stomp by holding left trigger, and there is no way for the opponent to know if she's delaying it or not. So if you're playing Devora right now and you go for a backdash, guess what? I still got you because I delayed the stomp. And for the longest time, there was no set duration to the delay. So Shiva could wait a half second, a full second, or anywhere in between, and it was impossible for you to know when she was coming down, and that's very important to understand. If the stomp just had two versions, the regular and the delay, it would be somewhat possible to guess. But because the Shiva player had perfect control over when they came down, it was impossible to time this attack. So already we have an attack that hits directly above you and is therefore almost impossible to interrupt. But then on top of that, the timing is impossible to predict, which means there's no way to dodge it consistently. But hypothetically, let's say you avoid the stomp perfectly and now you want to punish Shiva. Guess what? It's way harder than it sounds. And there's two big reasons why. For starters, this move used to recover instantly. Yeah, the second that Shiva hit the floor, she could go for the second stomp. It recovered really quickly. So by the time you realized, oh, I dodged her, time to attack, she would already be in the air again and tracking you like a homing missile. And this was extra annoying for certain characters like Sub-Zero, because you would think his slide is great for avoiding the move, and sometimes it did work, but at the same time it meant you were too far away to punish her and she would just stomp again. Yeah, you get the idea. This move recovered way too fast, and thankfully the developers realized that and eventually did nerf it, and now look at it. It takes much longer to recover, a full second in fact, 61 frames. So now it's time for the second reason this stomp was very tough to punish. Look at Shiva's animation. Do you notice how her head dips down when she lands to recover from the impact? Guess what? It's not just the animation. Shiva's hurt box also gets lower when she lands from the stomp, which means your fastest attacks could go right over her head. So when you combine that weird hurt box with her really fast recovery, it made punishing this stomp absurdly difficult, or at the very least much tougher than it needed to be. Now thankfully, just like the crazy fast recovery, this wonky hurt box was fixed. But don't worry, it gets worse because Shiva can aim her stomp. That's right. If I hold right, she lands to your right. If I hold left, she lands in front of you. And just like her delay stomp, it doesn't cost any meter, and it's very tough for the opponent to tell it's happening. If I'm the opponent and I walk backwards, boom, Shiva can track me. Well, that didn't work, so now I'm gonna walk forward and mix things up. Nope, that didn't work either, because once again, Shiva can aim her stomp. Even to this day, after all the nerfs, Shiva's ability to aim her stomp can still make it very difficult for many players to deal with. And in case you're wondering, yes, you can delay the stomp and also aim it at the same time. Check it out. I'm gonna aim the stomp and delay it. Yeah, as you can see, there's so many layers to this move. Once again, even after all the nerfs, it can be tough to deal with. And guess what? Shiva even has a fake stomp, which is great for catching people trying to avoid the real stomp. Mainly because most characters are faster on the ground. If you jump, you can't dash last minute to avoid the stomp. Well, guess what? This move catches you when you're dashing. You have to be in the air to avoid this thing. It's a full screen unblockable. And even though the damage isn't very high at only 6%, the mental damage is much higher. The aim of this move is to frustrate the opponent beyond belief, because after that, they start making mistakes. And just in case you do want more damage, you can always meter burn it, and now it's doing 10% damage. That's kind of a big deal for a full screen unblockable combined with a stomp that can be aimed, delayed, and all other shenanigans. The only way this move could be any more annoying is if you could cancel it and then bait the opponent into jumping and anti-air, which for some reason I think was possible, but that could just be the Mandela effect taking hold. Anyway, you get the idea. This move was very tough to deal with, and did I mention that if you land it 3 times in a row and then amplify, you get a crushing blow that does 32%. That's almost 1/3 of your health bar. And keep in mind that damage comes after the 3rd stomp, and each stomp does 10%. So that's 10 and then 20%, and then you have the 33% on top of that. Look at the health bar. Look at this. Devora is already half dead from 3 unblockables that once again track your location and can be aimed and can be delayed, and there's no set timing on the delay. Hopefully now you're starting to understand why this move was so frustrating and intimidating, and also why the fake out stomp was that much more annoying. Yeah, the damage wasn't very high, but when combined with the threat of the stomp, it was beyond infuriating. Once again, it did mental damage and some emotional damage too. But wait, there's more. I almost forgot about this, and I'm so glad I didn't. Shiva actually had a gimmick with this stomp. At the end of certain combos, Shiva could cancel into her stomp, and look at this, it hits you exactly as you're getting up. And I bet you're thinking, no big deal, I'll just roll on wake up. Guess what? That doesn't work, because get this, unblockables beat wake up roll. Or in other words, at the end of any combo, Shiva could sneak in an extra 10% damage that was pretty much guaranteed. And that's a big deal, because Shiva can easily get around 30% for every combo. So now add 10% on top of that for no extra meter, and you've already lost 40% life or more. And that's assuming the Shiva player doesn't amplify or unlock the crushing blow for 32% damage on top of the already 30% combo that led into it. Yeah, man, the stomp was wild, man. It was wild. Do not let anybody ever downplay the stomp. Some characters could counter it some of the time, but nobody could consistently counter this move, which is why it's been rebalanced and nerfed several times. However, unlike Jaws, I don't want you terrified of the water and afraid to swim in Mortal Kombat 11. It's safe to go in the water because this move has been nerfed so many times that it's a shadow of what it once was. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure sometimes it can still be frustrating, especially if used correctly with the delay and the aim and the fake out stomp, but at the end of the day, it's nowhere near the powerhouse it was, and as a result, you almost never see Shiva players online anymore, because surprise, surprise, when a movie is super cheap, exploitable, and makes gamers rage, it becomes very popular. But then after it's weakened and no longer a threat, they drop the character completely. Not me though, I still unironically love this character. I think Dragon's Stance is really cool. I love her combos and her mix-ups, and I'll be honest, she's just plain fun to play. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and while you're down there, please leave a like if you enjoyed the video. It helps my channel out a ton. And then keep that combo going by subscribing and ringing that bell, that way you never miss any future videos. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.